Good morning. I trust that you enjoyed the beautiful weather yesterday and will enjoy the beautiful weather today. It looks like spring may be trying to tempt us and convince us that it's going to lead to summer, and it's giving us some absolutely beautiful days, and we thank God for it. I did enjoy walking 18 holes yesterday, and I will tell you, it has been a little while since I walked 18 holes, but it was enjoyable. The exercise was great. The fellowship was amazing, and the golf was okay. But all in all, I trust that you're ready to launch out today and to see what God has in store, and that you will be found faithful and enjoy and rejoice in the day that the Lord has given to us. And I'm thankful I get to spend a little time with my grandkids and my kids today, and so I get to have them over for a little while. I'm thankful for all of that. But all right, let me officially welcome you to Daily Focus, and I'm thankful that you are willing to join me again this morning. We're going to be jumping back into the Old Testament, and we are going to be here for a while. And as we navigate through the book of Proverbs, can I just say there is no other book in the entire Bible filled with little nuggets that are applicable and appropriate for everyday living. And so I am thrilled and excited about launching into this study and just being able to draw out all of those little nuggets of wisdom, and then helping us to look at them and apply them. Because if we do, we will grow in our spiritual walk, we will be effective in our ministry for the Lord, and our testimony will be that which glorifies God. And I know that the very reason why you are joining me this morning is largely due to the fact that those are your goals. And so let's look right at Proverbs chapter 1. Proverbs chapter 1. We'll look at the first 7 verses. The Bible says, "The Proverbs of Solomon, the son of David, king of Israel, to know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding, to receive the instruction of wisdom, justice, and judgment, and equity, to give subtlety to the simple, to the young man knowledge and discretion. A wise man will hear and will increase learning, and a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsels. To understand a proverb and the interpretation, the words of the wise is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and their dark sayings. The fear of the Lord." Verse number 3 tells us a little bit of the outline, really, that you can gain from the book of Proverbs. It says that you'll receive instruction, and it's not just general instructions. It's not just instructions that do not have an important lesson. It's not just telling you what to do. It's really instructions that have a very important aspect to the success of life. And so it is the instruction of wisdom, and it is the instruction of justice, the fact that there are consequences, there is a future for every decision. Every decision that we make has a future. And we need to remember that. And Proverbs probably clearly defines those paths and clearly warns of destructive futures for bad decisions, and it clearly encourages the reward for proper decisions. And so it says that there is the instruction of justice, that there is a future for every decision. And then judgment, the fact that we are filled with options. Every day, even today, you will go through the day and you will make a lot of decisions. Some of those decisions will simply be what you allow to be entertained in your thinking. A lot of the decisions are going to be regarding what you allow into your mind and what you allow your mind to dwell on. Other decisions will be less impactful in the big picture. What you're going to wear, which car you're going to drive, what food are you going to eat. But we're going to make a lot of other decisions that are going to have much more impact going forward. There's decisions that we're going to make today that are going to affect tomorrow and the next day and so on and so forth. We're living in a day where it's very unique, and we're needing to navigate through rules, stay-at-home orders, a virus crisis, if you want to put it that way, and we're navigating all of that, and we're going to make decisions. We are bombarded with so many things in the news, and part of the frustration and the disappointment that we're going through right now is that we have ceased as a nation from a media perspective and from a political perspective of solving the coronavirus problem. And now we have moved into trying to use the crisis for leverage, for political gain, for personal agenda. And that's just confusing the whole thing. And there is so much information out there on both sides and in every angle. And you have this professional that disagrees with that professional, and depending on what you want to convince people of, you go to this professional or you contradict that professional, and this person who's supposed to have done this study and this person's done that study, and yet these two studies contradict each other. Do you use this prescription? Is it effective? You have testimonies of people that it's been very effective and they thank God for it, and you have others that say it'll kill you if you take it, and we're just bombarded with so much information. Well, we're going to make decisions on that, and we're going to need God to give us wisdom and discernment and discretion to navigate through it, because I'm not a health professional. Many of you are not health professionals. I'm not a disease expert, and you probably aren't either. And we have reports that are coming from everywhere, whether it's the TV or whether it's the internet, and we're trying to be wise and gather data the best that we can and to make our decisions informed. And yet we just have all of this conflicting information, because now it's become necessary to keep the crisis in order to maintain the fear, which allows us to continue to control behavior. And ultimately, we're going to have to work through that. But Proverbs is telling us, you know what we really need? Is we need instruction in wisdom. We need instruction regarding judgment and the fact that there's a future to our decisions. We need instruction in how to make good decisions. And then instruction regarding equity, in the fact that there is going to be a fallout, there is going to be an impact, and there is going to be something that is going to affect another decision, and another decision. Our decisions are going to affect someone else. And so we have to be able to realize that that's where wisdom comes in. That's where knowledge and discretion and understanding are so important if we're going to navigate through life in a way that we can be successful for what God has called us to be and to do, as well as to be successful in glorifying God and accomplishing His will for our lives, the commands that He's given to us, and to be able to apply them appropriately. And so verse number 7 really brings it together, and it reminds us that if we're going to have wisdom, there's a starting point. If we're going to make good decisions, there's a starting point. If we're going to be able to discern through data, there's a starting point. If we're going to be able to have a positive influence in future decisions and in the outgrowth of our decisions, then there is a foundation, there is a starting point. And so he says there in verse number 7 that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. Psalm 14:1 says, the fool has said in his heart, there is no God. Literally, the fool has said in his heart, no God for me. I will be my own God. I will be my own authority. I will decide what is right and what is not right. And I will decide what's right for me, what's not right for me. I'm going to do what I think. I am going to do what I want. I am going to do what makes me happy. And God says there is that freedom for you to live life that way. And you can despise wisdom and instruction. You can say, you know what, I'm not listening to wisdom. I'm not going to listen to instruction. Nobody's going to tell me what to do. Nobody's going to tell me how to think. And that includes God, unfortunately, for those secular humanists. But can I remind you that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge? If you really want to be able to gain the information in order to exercise sound wisdom, in order to have a positive outcome from the decisions that you make, and to be able to build upon them for future decisions and future impact, then it all starts with the fear of the Lord. And so it's very important for us to understand, what is the fear of the Lord? Well, the fear of the Lord really is not this, I'm afraid of God. It's not this, I need to, look and always be looking around trying to figure out, is God going to smack me on the head? Am I making him mad? That's not the fear of the Lord at all. Should we respect God in his power and in the fact of his knowledge and the fact that he does chasten and discipline? Yes, that is true. But here the word fear is really teaching an idea of an awesome respect for who he is and what he is like. In other words, there's an awesome respect of his position. There's an awesome respect for his power. But more importantly, there is an awesome respect for his person. This is who God is. And if we're going to have wisdom, if we're going to properly diagnose through knowledge, through data to increase our knowledge, then we're going to have to let God be God. And we're going to have to submit ourselves to who he is and respect him, to understand his power and respect it, to understand his position as creator and savior and controller and sovereign over all things, and respect it. That's what God says. If you're going to gain anything out of the book of Proverbs, it all starts with letting God be God. And so may we start there today. May we acknowledge God in his person and respect him and love him and appreciate him and stand in awe of him, that we might make good decisions, that we might understand justice, and that we might have a fulfilling equity in life. And so we'll define that a little bit more as we go forward, but it all starts with letting God be God. May we embrace that truth and appreciate God for who he is and tell him about it today. May God bless you. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock.